All right.
Yo, yo, yo.
Coming to you live from Philly. It's the Paulie and Tony Fusco Show.
Yo, yo, yo.
As always, Paulie Fusco here with Tony Fusco and Tony.
Yo.
Terrible developments out of the world of college football, expanding the playoff and continuing to defecate upon the proud sport and its proud tradition. We're going to have college sports radio personality Aaron Torres, who I've never heard of until now. You ever heard of him?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Well, he told our producer that he doesn't like the playoff either, so maybe he has a brain or something. We'll find out, whatever. Anyway, some quick business up top before we get to our top story. Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at Zales Jewelers. Are you getting married? Make Zales Jewelers your go-to with their 30-day refund policy. Isn't that right, Tony?
Yeah. You're already getting married, which is horrible. Don't make it worse by not going to Zales.
Zales. If you can't afford a prenup, Zales. Okay, now that we got that business out of the way, let's get into our top story.
Top story.
Huge changes coming to the sport of college football as it struggles to stay relevant. The College Football Playoff announced that in the year 2026, it will be expanding from 4 to 12 teams. And this is another step in the wrong direction. You know, Tony and I not only believe this is a bad idea, as you know, we have never supported the idea of a playoff in the first place. Isn't that right, Tony?
It's disgraceful. They've thrown away the proud tradition of the sport. It made so much more sense when we let the champions be decided by the people who know best. Of course, I'm talking about coaches and old sports writers. Do you really think that the national championship can be decided on the field?
Absolutely not.
No.
And you know, the other problem with these playoffs, every game is a blowout. There's no suspense. You know, we looked up the stats before the show. The average margin of victory in the playoff, it's 49 points. It's pathetic. And you know, Tony, when there was actually suspense?
Yup.
Back in the late 80s, when you found out the college national champion after the bowl games by slowly opening up the newspaper around 8 a.m. on Monday, turning to Section C and looking at the updated rankings. It did not get better than
Nothing
that.
better.
Isn't that right?
Yeah. And the best part about that system is that sometimes they didn't even crown an outright winner. You had ties, which means you got something even better than a national champion. You had 2 national champions, which means more people could be happy.
Yep.
You know, I've always said, if we want to solve the political problems in this country, why not have 2 presidents? That way, you could be like, hey, I'm not listening to that guy. I'm gonna listen to the other president.
Food for thought. Well said there, Tony. And well, let's just move on right now to another big story, controversy in the world of pro football. You know, we addressed this last week, but there's a new development. Rams defensive end Aaron Donald swinging 2 helmets at Bengals players. Now, there are people like Mike Borio over at Pro Football Talk claiming that this was somehow assault and that Aaron Donald should be suspended. Now, in the midst of this firestorm, Aaron Donald is now refusing to apologize, saying it was, quote, just practice.
Yep.
And we 100% agree with Aaron Donald. Isn't that right, Tony?
Of course. Doesn't anybody realize Aaron Donald was doing the Bengals a huge favor? Practice is all about preparation, and he was helping the Bengals prepare properly for AFC North divisional games where, as we all know, players routinely try to decapitate each other at least 2 or 3 times a game.
Yep.
If anything, I think the Bengals should be thanking Aaron Donald.
Absolutely. And, you know, this makes me concerned, frankly, about the people running the Bengals. And
Totally.
that coach they got there, who looks like he still hasn't hit puberty.
Ugh.
You know, if I was coaching that team and a player actually came to me and complained about having a helmet swung at him, you know what I'd say? I'd say, you're cut. Go play flag football, you clown.
Yeah, I got 2 words for you. two-hand touch, wimp.
And you know, Tony, another thing that's just terrible about this story, you know, Mike Borio and all these other idiots out there, they're calling for Aaron Donald to be suspended.
Ridiculous.
For what? You know, people always say preseason doesn't matter, right? Well, now suddenly it matters?
Exactly.
You know, you have to choose one or the other, don't you, Tony?
This is why they say you can't have your cake and then let other people eat your cake. If we start saying preseason matters, then what's next? Where does it stop? Are you gonna make teams have a 93-man roster? Are you gonna make the Hall of Fame game the Super Bowl? It's a very slippery slope, and you have to be very careful.
Well said, Tony, all around there. All right, let's move to another story. Final story from the NBA. Jeanie Buss, the Lakers owner, you know, she was on a podcast this week, and she said that last year, this is a quote, Russell Westbrook was the Lakers' best player.
Smart.
Now, after a social media firestorm erupted, she backtracked and said she meant to say most consistent. But Tony, there was no reason to backtrack at all. Isn't that right?
100%. Anyone who knows anything about basketball knows the most important stat of them all, which is games played. Russell Westbrook led the team with 78 games played, while LeBron James only played in like 23 games because he's lazy. It's like the great Woody Allen said before everyone realized he was a weirdo. He said 100% of success is showing up. If you don't show up, how can you have success?
So perfectly said, Tony. And you know, it's so easy to see why Jeanie Buss would say this about Russell Westbrook, because you watch him play, you'll see him in the fourth quarter, so gassed, so tired, that he's barely able to run up and down the court. You know, he's barely able to put two legs in front of each other. You know, he's barely able to lift a basketball and then even shoot it remotely close to the basket. And you know, that is when you know he's the best player on the court. Isn't that totally obvious, Tony?
Of course. This is a huge problem in society today. People thinking we should celebrate people for working less. This is why I never understood when people say, work smarter, not harder. Don't you get smart by working harder?
That should be totally obvious. And you know, we see this problem in all the sports, don't we, Tony? You know, look no further than the laziest athletes in the world. Of course, I'm talking about Major League Baseball pitchers. How
worst.
have we come to accept that it's okay for a pitcher to pitch every 4 or 5 games? Imagine if you worked at an office and you showed up once a week. Your colleagues would hate you.
That's why I can't understand why we give pitchers the Cy Young Award. You know, Cy Young used to pitch like 200 games a year. Wouldn't it make more sense to give them the, I don't know, the Mitch Williams Award or something accurate like that?
Great idea, Tony. And you know, I'd love to discuss this more, but I see our guest coming on the line. So let's find out who this guy is, and we'll bring him on the Fusco Satellite Network.
Fusco Satellite Network.
All right, our guest is what you'd call an up-and-comer in the industry. All right, you know, he's still got a long way to go, but he's trying. He's the host of the Aaron Torres podcast, which I've admittedly never listened to. But you know, yeah, he's also a host on Fox Sports Radio on weekends and late nights, you know, when nobody's listening. Anyway, let's just bring him on here. Aaron Torres, welcome to the show.
You know, I've had a lot of introductions in my illustrious career. That was definitely one of them for sure. No doubt about it.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's how you do it. Anyway, you told our producer beforehand you don't like the 12-team playoff like we don't. All right, we like where you're going with this.
Yeah,
so,
good for you.
So tell us your reasoning there.
Well, I like the 4-team playoff, and the main reason being we have yet.
No.
Wrong.
No.
Wrong answer.
See,
Bad start for you.
Yeah, they're all blowouts.
Bad start for you.
You like watching a 50-point blowout? You know, is that what you like? You like to watch, you know, a 20-year-old beat up a 4-year-old? That's what you like?
We're going to get more of that when we get 12 teams. We can't even get 4 teams that can compete for a championship.
That's why the correct answer is to have no playoff at all. Go back to the old. You know, you probably don't remember this because you look like you're 17 years old.
10 years old.
But, you know, in the old days, 1980s, 1990s, You used to wake up,
What?
open the
The best.
newspaper,
No.
and you'd find out,
Oh
hey,
my goodness! Yeah,
Colorado
the
and Georgia
newspaper.
Tech
Are you
national
still reading the
champions.
newspaper over there, Joey?
Yeah, every
Paulie?
day.
Have some respect
What?
for the people who came
Inquire.
before you. The sports writers
It's laughable
who built
how out of
college
touch you
football.
are.
Yeah.
Does the AP still exist? Is that still a thing? What are we doing here?
This is
Oh,
terrible.
here we
You-
go.
Son,
Who
son,
knows
you're working,
better?
Big
he
pot
works
belly.
in-
We're not going to settle it on the field.
You work
Just going
in
to let some
sports.
pot
No.
belly,
No.
some pot belly with.
No, who
What?
knows
Potbelly, no.
better
Some
than
of those
old
men
sports
were
writers?
120-pound, 60-year-old men who knew the
Yeah.
sport better than anyone. And you
Smart,
have no
been
respect
watching
for
it.
that
A little
generation. I hear
comb-over?
it in your voice.
We're not going to settle it on the
Yeah,
field.
oh,
What's the heck?
are you-
No.
Okay,
I'll
so
settle,
we're just going
we'll settle
They
this in the
already played
parking
the
lot.
whole
You keep
season.
interrupting me. Can you just can you not interrupt? I'm trying to tell you, teach you. Son.
All right, please, I'm listening. I'm all ears.
The way to answer it is you have experts in this business. They look at the teams and
Listen.
they tell you who the 3 or 4 best teams are. That's all you need to know. You don't need the game. Game tells you nothing.
Exactly.
The game tells you nothing, really. So, like when
What?
Georgia
Is there an echo?
when Georgia lost to Alabama and then they came back and beat them, that game. What did that told us nothing?
Yeah, I wasn't watching because I had tuned out. Like
Yeah,
I'm tuning you out
exactly.
now. You better give
Yeah.
me some better points here,
Yeah,
son.
So are we
exactly. Torres,
So
let's go.
are we going back to bowl games like we're playing the Gator Bowl, like you said, the Rose Bowl?
Yeah,
meaning
there
nothing
we
to
go.
you?
Yeah, tradition.
Wow.
You have no
It
respect
means
for
nothing.
tradition.
You have no respect for
Here-
tradition. Well, here's a
what you
tradition.
guys.
Yeah. What do
You
you
guys-
want to say? Go.
You guys sound like you sound like the new age Gen Z. Everybody gets a
All right, that's
participation
enough.
trophy.
You know
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
sound
yeah,
like?
yeah, yeah.
You
You're-
sound like
you're
you're
Gen-
about to
you're-
get. Tell him,
You're
Paulie.
Gen
Tell him
X.
what he sounds
X,
like.
X out of here,
What?
because guess what? You want
Guess
to talk
what?
playoff? You're getting
Guess
played
what?
off the
Yes.
show. You're
Yes,
out of
you're
here.
off the
Get
show.
him out of here.
That's
Go
what
keep
you
your
sound
participation
Come back in
trophy.
20
Keep
years.
your participation
Learn
trophy.
something. Oh, yeah.
See ya.
I'll give you a
No respect for the great generations.
Jay, is he off the line?
Hang up the phone.
I'd like to go back to the point where I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, Aaron Torres. More like Aaron Borres.
Good one, Tony. Anyway, all right, we're not going to thank him, but as we wrap the show here, we are going to thank our terrific friends at Zales Jewelers.
wait.
Oh,
Hold on.
you
No.
kidding me?
If it's someone who will never walk inside a Zales
Yeah.
Jewelers, if
Yeah,
you
'cause
catch
he's
my drift.
lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr.
What?
Lonely.
Corrections, guys.
Yeah, we know.
Corrections.
Go,
All
get
right,
to it.
hurry
What?
up
Go.
already.
You said LeBron James was lazy?
Yep.
No. And only played in 23 games last season?
Yeah,
Accurate.
what? Yeah.
No. He played in 56 games. And for the record, he averaged more than 30 points and 8 rebounds a game. So he's not exactly lazy.
Oh, yeah? Well, for the record, you average less than 0 good ideas per episode.
Yeah, we're gonna lay you on the ground, then drive a Nissan Z over your limp body. Now, that's it.
Good one, Tony.
No
I
more.
totally
We're
got
done.
that one.
Two more.
Totally got it.
Cy Young never pitched 200 games in a season. That's absolutely
According
ridiculous.
To you. According to you.
The most he ever pitched in a season was 55. And over his career, he usually started about 40 games a season. So, yeah, you were off by about 500%.
Oh, yeah? Well, your face is off by 2,000%.
Yeah, Cy Young, it's gonna be Sayonara when I kill you after the show. Now,
Yeah, enough,
that's
enough,
it. We're
enough.
done.
No,
Enough out of you.
another
What?
thing.
Hurry up.
You said, Woody Allen said, 100% of success is showing up.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, great quote.
No. He said showing up is 80% of life. 100% would make no sense. And that would mean like you just show up and do nothing. And I know what you're going to say.
Oh, yeah, well, don't worry. I'm going to say it. You're not going to stop
Yeah.
me. I'm still going to say that your Native American name is show up and do nothing.
Yeah, my Native American name is puts up with shitty producer.
There you go. All right, enough
Yeah,
out of you.
look at him. He's all
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
all hurt, Paulie.
He's all hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
sad.
cry in your feelings or
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, we got good news on this podcast. Finally got through to the Colts. They apologized and offered up Nick Foles
Wow,
on the
great
show
news.
next week. He'll be on the show. And hey, don't forget to follow us on our many social media platforms.
We're all over.
We're worldwide
Yup.
and global. And hey, Tony, great job as always.
Same to you, Paulie. Another flawless show.
There you go. We'll see you people next week. Bye.
See ya.